When I built my workbench, I never used dog hold clamps. I've never used micro jigs. You know, I never had anybody teaching me all this stuff. So once I built my workbench, I just had to start buying clamps and trying to figure out which ones I like the best. And in hopes that you don't have to do the same, I'm going to go over the different types of clamps I have, you know, and how they work and how they differ from each other. So hopefully when you go to purchase your clamps, you'll know the ones that will work the best for you. So we got two clamping systems. We got dog holes and we got the MICROJIG. The MICROJIG system is great because it has this Dovetail router bit you can get, which actually has a little round over. You can use just a regular Dovetail router bit if you have one, you know, but with the MICROJIG one, it does the little round over on the edge, and it's a great system. And then you have the yellow handle and you have the green handle. And you may say, what's the difference? Well, with the yellow handle, whenever you turn it up, it falls down. Well, the green handle, there's a little spring clip, so when you slide it up, it stays there. And you may not think that's a big deal, but when you have 2 or 3 of them trying to slide a board in, and you're on this end, and the clamp keeps sliding down, it can make it a little bit of a challenge. Now, with the green clamps here, it's basically the same head, but these have a little groove in them, and so that they can catch on a board on an angle and still kind of push it down. And if I was to do it over again with the MICROJIG system, I definitely would buy the green handle ones over the yellow handle ones. They just work so much better. And now I like the MICROJIG system for jigs. As far as a workbench, I will not put a MICROJIG system back in a workbench. One is if I need to clamp over here, I can't. I can only clamp on the line. And then also, if I have the lines, whenever I'm over here, say sanding with my sander, this cord will get caught up, and you know, whenever I'm trying to go, and then next thing I know, it's jerking. And I don't know why, but these grooves always seem to catch my cords. So I do not necessarily like the MICROJIG for a table. However, it is a great clamping system for flattening jigs for the table saw, and I will always have MICROJIG system. I just will not have one in a workbench any longer. Now that leaves us to our dog type clamps. Now there are many different ones, but basically it doesn't matter what kind of clamp you have. The way it works is it goes in the hole and then it has to kind of push back at an angle. Some of the first ones I got were these little guys here, and you just put these in, they slide down, and you have this little lever that will flip up. And when you flip that little lever up, it brings up just enough to put enough pressure on there. The one thing that one of the things that I don't really care about these is, as you can see, well, this one's been well worn, but as you wear it from, you know, all the way closed to open, you've only got maybe 1/8 of an inch. So if there's any slippage or if your holes are a little wallered, by the time it gets to clamping, it's really not that secure. And then you have to have like a set of short ones. And then, you know, if you're wanting to clamp something taller, you have to have a taller one. So now you have to have 2 of these, whereas they may be a few dollars cheaper, but you have to have, you know, 2 sets, a short set and a tall set. They do work. I have used them. However, these would be my least choice. Then we have these ones here. Go and Make It sent me these, and these are a very nice. The machining on them was very nice. The little clamp right here, the screw, it's got a nice rounded head on it. It fits perfectly down inside of the groove, and so what that does is it makes it to where you can quickly go up or down. You can even loosen that up to where it comes outside of it and slide it up and down, or you can, if it's in the groove, slide up and down and get your micro adjust, and then once you get it close to about where you want it at, then you can tighten down the handle here. And between the two, that gives you a lot of room for movement, and these will clamp very secure. Very precision made, and I really don't have much of a complaint about these. One, they only go up about 3 or 4 inches, so you can't do anything really tall with them. They do have kind of a small little pad down here that's not the strongest, but it works. So these were good. Then I got a set of these here. These are Enjoywood, and they're almost identical on the little rod coming up. Now these have a knurling where this one just has one little ring right there. So I feel that this kind of grabs better into the hole, gives you a little bit more friction. Now whenever I got these, the little thumb screw right here was just a square thumb screw. It didn't have the rounded edge to go into the rounded groove. So I didn't like that. I ended up had to round mine over. The actual handle is really nice, and it goes down, and it seems to be a much bigger where it's coming to the pad. And the pad is, I don't know if it's Delron or just what material it is, but it's a nice, not a rubber, not a plastic, so it doesn't mar up the wood, but it doesn't have the metal backing plate in it, but it's still good and strong. And I like this particular pad better than that pad. But again, these two basically work almost the same, just a little bit different in build quality. And again, this one has a better thumb screw, and then this one has a better foot pad. So we've got those, and now I just ordered a set and got these in today, and which is what made me make this video, because this here, I mean, when you feel the weight of it, I'll get a pair of scales here in a minute and we'll weigh these. But I mean, this is all solid metal, and it's just feels like a solid, well-made tool. The slides, everything is just works perfectly. They go in the hole, whereas all these other ones, they work okay, but there's no, second guessing which one, when you pick these up, is the higher quality. And I really wasn't expecting this. And then with this style here, it can go up and down. So now we've got a lot of movement here. And then when it gets to wherever you want it at, all you do is just click that, and see right there, I did 2 clicks, and that thing is tight. I couldn't pull it out. And there's still, I don't want to go too much because I think I could probably rip out my holes here. But this thing has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's got 7, spots, getting it tighter and tighter as you go. And realistically, whenever I put this down here on that, depending on how far it was sitting forward when I start, we're looking at 2 to 3, maybe 4 clicks. And this thing, has more downward force than any of these. The pad is a nice big square pad, and you've got this, I don't know, this is cast metal here, whereas most of these are just lightweight aluminum. But you've got this big area right here that's pressing down on this whole pad, and now this whole pad is forcing down, instead of with these, it's just got that one little center part that's pushing down on the pad. The locking mechanism, the release on them, I mean, I know what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be getting rid of a bunch of clamps, and I will now be replacing them all with these, because after using this one time, I realized that these other clamps just aren't as good as I thought they were. We got the little short ones here. Those are 226 grams. We got the big long ones here, 260 grams. We got the Go and Make, 253 grams. We got the Enjoywood, 210 grams. And then we have these. I'm not even for sure what the brand, they don't have a brand written on them, but those are 527, almost double what the weight of the other clamps are. All right, so we're gonna measure this here. So this is You have to have it in far enough that, you know, if you just barely put it in, it's going to bust out your table. But so this needs to go in, and it gives us about 1.5 inches, and then we can go all the way down from 0 to 1.5 inches. Now with this one here, you know, we want to come in at least this far here. So that gives us about 6 inches, so we can have about 6 inches up, and that's with it barely in the table. And it depends on the table, but see, like with my table here, it only can go this far, and that's why you have to have the 2. Now with these here, they can go all the way down to 0, but with this all the way up, and then this is all the way up as far as it can go, we're looking at about 2.5 inches. The go and make, I think it's going to be about the same. It looks at about 2 inches. So we're, you know, looking at around 2 inches maximum height of something to clamp. Whereas with this one here, we are looking at 6 inches. So we get 6 inches max all the way down to 0. So this particular clamp has the largest clamping range, it has the most clamping force, and it's actually goes into the holes. I think it's just a little bit smaller because of the way it's made. It doesn't have to try to grab as quick or whatever. I don't know the reason on behind, because they do sell a 20mm set of these. I got the 19s. But, you know, so when I first got them, I'm like, ooh, that's going to be, you know, not hold good, because they falls right down into the hole. But, I mean, as soon as I tried it the first time, dropped it in there, and I'm like, and then I felt just how strong that is. I mean, I was going to put it on the scale and try to give us a pressure reading, but I'm scared that it would actually break the scale because this thing is clamping that hard. So, in my opinion, there is not a single area that this clamp does not exceed in. It's priced as high as I had expected it to be. All the clamps, and that way you can decide what you need and your price point that you can afford to pay, and hopefully this helps you make a better decision.